Hey everyone, welcome to this exclusive interview with Rich Lambert, a creative director with Elder Scroll Online, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited to spend some time picking your brain about the new Somerset chapter that is coming to Elder Scroll Online. And so I wanted to kind of just follow up a little bit. I mean, we've had a little bit of preview time. You give us just a great overview of what's coming out. But I wanted to spend a little time kind of diving in a little bit more into story and those types of things. So, so the first question I really want to ask is, why did you go back to Somerset?
Somerset affords us the opportunity to do something a little bit different. So Elder Scrolls isn't traditionally very high fantasy, very high magic, and Somerset absolutely is. It's the home of the High Elves, you know, and they devote themselves to the study of magic and the study of knowledge. And so what players are going to get to see here kind of changes the dial a little bit, and is more high elven fantasy and is more high magic. And I think they're really going to be impressed with the architecture and the overall environment of the zone.
Okay, absolutely. So with it, I mean, it's been years. Like 1994, I think was the last time.
In Arena, yeah.
Yeah, in Arena
1994
was the last time we actually got to see Somerset. So what was it like for you as a creative team to go back there and try to, in a lot of ways, recreate and reimagine what that world was like? How was that for you guys?
It's always entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to think we've gotten pretty good at that over the years, of kind of going through this treasure trove of lore and story and kind of picking out the relevant parts and the most important parts. And in Somerset, I think we've done a really good job of that. You know, Arena was the start of things, and it had a really large part of setting the tone for the remainder of the series. And just being able to go in and take the Crystal Tower from Somerset and pick out, you know, Cloud Rest and things like that, and then actually show players what those look like. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be pretty incredible, I would think, from a creative standpoint. So with that, can you kind of give us a little bit of the story background, as you know, how? I mean, because traditionally Somerset has always been this very exclusive area for the High Elves and things like that. What's changed story-wise? And again, whatever you can tell me without spoiling it.
Sure. So no main story spoilers.
Absolutely.
At this point in time, Queen Arena has opened the borders, so it is no longer a safe. It is no longer a safe haven, or at least that's what some people on the island think, for them to pursue their interests. And so part of the story is dealing with that conflict. You know, Queen Arena's opened the borders because she wants to bring economic wealth and prosperity to all of the High Elves. That's why she started the Elven Dominion and is trying so hard at it. And so as you kind of explore the world, you get to see kind of both sides of that argument, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm sure that's going to create a lot of conflict across the board, which would be great for side quests and things like that as well. I want to shift gears a little bit, because you had mentioned as well when we were doing the presentation that we're going to be introduced to a new order. Can you give us a little bit of background on what that's all about and what players can expect?
Sure. So the Sigic Order it plays a very large role in the main story of Somerset, of the chapter. They are a reclusive group of mages. They're almost mythical in Elder Scrolls ethos, because they're so reclusive, and they've been in other Elder Scrolls games, but you probably don't interact with them a lot. And they live on the island of Artaeum, which disappeared at some point hundreds of years ago from Tamriel. And nobody knows why, nobody knows where it went, but it took all of the Sigic Order with them. And in the main story arc, they come back. And so, because they don't generally deal with the regular daily life of Tamriel, that's a really big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even it's interesting, even in the some of the areas we're able to look at and things like that, we start to see that even in the introductory area, which is really neat. Now, as far as the player is concerned, will we be able to join the order? What would that look like? How does that all kind of function mechanically, I guess?
You do. So for the first time ever, in an Elder Scrolls game, you get to join the Sigic Order. You get to learn a little bit about who they are, you know, what they do. They're the masters of mysticism and time. And as a result of joining them, you get a new skill line. And the skill line is really cool because, A, you get to use it on your character that you already have. You don't have to start a new character for it. But B, it gives you the ability to kind of be a master of mysticism and bend time, which is something we don't generally do in Elder Scrolls. So it's a really fun skill line. I'll give you a couple examples.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Want. So, one of the abilities is called Time Stop. And it's a ground-targeted ability that you throw out in the world, and there's this bubble on the ground. and anything trapped in the bubble, or anything that's in the bubble, time starts to slow down until it stops for a few seconds. So it's this really cool kind of hard crowd control ability that anybody can access.
Okay.
Which I think is going to have a really cool effect on both the PvP and PvE side of things. The other ability that is probably my favorite is the ultimate ability, and right now it's called Undo. We may actually change the name when we do a fiction pass on it, but it works how it sounds.
Okay.
So when you cast that ability, it rewinds time back 4 seconds. So it takes your health, your stamina, and your magicka, and the location you were 4 seconds ago, and has this really cool kind of rewind animation and puts you back at that spot.
Oh, I'm excited to try that out. I'm geeking out a little bit of that one, to be honest with you. But, I'm a little nervous because players are really creative. But it's a really fun ability, so I can't wait for players to get it. Absolutely. So in regards to story, I mean, one of the things that I loved was when you guys did the switch over with your story and the way the chapter system worked, where anybody could jump in anywhere and dive in and not feel like they were missing out. And how is Somerset going to kind of impact that?
It follows that same kind of pattern. So for a brand new player, we have a new tutorial that is all about Somerset, gets you onto the storyline right away, and makes you feel like you're a part of the story right away. You don't feel like you're missing it. For existing players, you can just take your regular characters and jump straight into Somerset, and there's a really nice on-ramp into the story there. So everybody gets to play together, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's one of the nice things you see with the game is, you know, you can jump in as a new player, you can jump in as an old player, and there's this seamless transition for people, and I'm excited to see how that works with the new expansion coming out. And so the last thing I want to kind of touch base on, because it was mentioned and highlighted, was crafting. In the realm of crafting, we've got jewel crafting.
We do.
And I mean, first of all, it kind of sounds, you know, it is what it sounds like. You're going to be building, you know, cool rings and amulets and those types of things. But one of the things you had mentioned that I just was hoping you could elaborate a little on was, I mean, we have 3 base stats that we work with in Elder Scroll. We've got health, magicka, and stamina, and they're kind of the all-encompassing stats.
Yep.
But you had mentioned in the kind of in the coverage event that you're introducing 6 new stats.
6 new traits. For
6
jewelry.
new traits. Yes, thank you.
So that'll flesh it out to the full 9. So it works very similarly to how the other durable crafting works. So like blacksmithing, like woodworking.
Yeah. Can you give me a couple of examples of what we can hope to see?
Sure, I'll give you 2.
All right, perfect.
So the first one is called Bloodthirsty. And what that does is, as your target health gets lower, you start to do more damage. So there's a certain threshold that once they hit that, you start doing extra damage to them. And that trait is actually sourced in PvP. So you have to go into PvP and get it, or trade with somebody that has earned it in PvP.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which is cool. We've done that with all of our new traits that we've added. Another one, well, for the life of me, I can't remember the name, but we'll call it synergistic. That's not it, but basically it improves the synergies, the damage and the resource returns and synergies.
Yep.
And that's actually sourced in trial.
Oh, okay.
In trial people.
Oh, neat. Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. With a June 5th launch on Xbox One, PS4, Mac, and PC, we look forward to seeing Elder Scroll Online Somerset. There we go. Yep. Somerset. So thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Sure thing.